guys, I'm Steph Castelein and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a wonderful day wherever you may be. Today I just want to have a little chat. I want to talk about blogging and mostly I want to talk about imposter syndrome. I see a lot of new bloggers going through this. I have gone through this, but just talking about that feeling of feeling like you're not an expert, or like, why would someone listen to you, or like you're not good enough. It's called imposter syndrome and you can look it up, or I'll put some links down below if you haven't heard of it before, but it's a real thing. It's one thing for me to sit here and like tell you, but it's another thing for you to actually believe it for yourself. And whether you admit it today or not, like, you are an expert in something. We all are experts in something. So I first heard this idea on the Jenna Kutcher podcast, the Gold Digger podcast, and Jenna Kutcher was talking to her mentor, Dean, and they were talking about being an expert in something and how so many people don't start a blog or a podcast or that online business because they don't feel like they're an expert in something and qualified to begin. They talked about how being an expert doesn't mean that you know everything, that you are like the go-to guru of them all and you are known as the expert. Being an expert means that you are one chapter ahead of the other people who are reading the book. Think about that. So being an expert doesn't mean that you know everything about your little topic. What it means is that you are one chapter ahead of those behind you. So you haven't read the entire book, like you haven't reached the end. You're still learning and growing and like reading through it yourself, but you're one chapter ahead and you can shout back and tell those people and your followers what you've learned along the way. That is what being an expert is in the blogging world. It's having that experience and being able to tell people about your experience and how they can get there that much faster. Like, hey, I just read this chapter and this is what you can expect. You can kind of skip over this part. Be sure to highlight this and circle that, and then I'll meet you in the next chapter. You know, like, that's what you're doing here. You know, if you want to start a mom blog, but you don't feel qualified or like an expert or like you have it all figured out as a mom, that might keep you from starting your blog. And there's like other people doing it better and other resources and like other people have things figured out. But no, like, you are a mom. Well, obviously if you're a mom, but you are a mom. You've been through it before. You are raising your kids and you can help someone who has never done that before. You can literally have resources and insights and stories and good things and bad things that can help new moms because you've been through it before. You don't know everything, none of us do, but like, you can use what you've learned and your experiences to help others. Of course, there is always more to learn, but I truly believe that we're all experts in something. We just don't give ourselves enough credit. Again, I could go down the line of niches, but like gardening, okay? You don't have to be an expert gardener and have all the things figured out, but like, if you've gardened for a year, that has given you the knowledge and the experience of having a year of gardening under your belt. So you can help other gardeners who don't have that experience, who are just starting out, who are where you were 1 year ago. I could keep going with niche examples, but just apply this to what your blog is, what your niche is, and what your audience wants. Your audience is looking at you to help them in some way, to like give them advice, tips and tricks, stories from your own experience. I want you to think of the questions that people in your real life ask you. Like, what are the questions that keep coming to you for? If you're a photographer and starting a photography blog, do they ask you photography questions or camera questions or settings questions or editing questions? Like, what are the questions that they're asking you? I mean, if someone would ask you and send you a message on Facebook or Instagram, like, you would have a response, right? That's essentially what you're doing with your blog and by starting it. So take what you're good at in real life, because I know that you have skills and you have passions and you are an expert in something, even if you don't consider yourself that right now. But when you acknowledge that and own it and be like, you know what, I do know a thing or two about photography. I do know a thing or two about gardening. I do know a thing or two about being a mom. You can then start your own blog and help others. And it's the conversation that I keep having over and over and over with people reaching out to me about blogging. I've totally dealt with my own fears and insecurities and imposter syndrome feelings from the get-go, and still do when I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did all this work. What is it for? What am I doing? Where am I going with this? Who the heck cares? So I just want to encourage you today. Again, like, me saying this is great and hopefully it inspires you in some massive way. But at the end of the day, you have to kind of make that mindset shift and start considering yourself an expert in your blogging niche. There are always going to be other people in the world who are doing it bigger and better, and they can go to them as a resource, but people want to come to you for a reason. What's that reason? What's your personality? What are you teaching them? How are you teaching them? And what value are you offering your readers over and over and over? So we can talk about SEO and keywords and getting organic traffic to your website, which is all really important. But if imposter syndrome is keeping you from starting, you know, you're never gonna get to learn those things or to grow your blog. So I know that this is a little bit different style of video than I normally do because we can get into the technical side of building a website, but I think having that inspiration and motivation and that moment when you decide that you're going to do this, like you're diving in, like that stuff gets me so excited. And actually, in my opinion, the most important part of the process, so I could talk about it forever. Like that's what I enjoy talking about most. So if you like this kind of video, let me know in the comments below, or I can just stick to how-tos and tutorials. But I want to keep creating this community where you don't feel alone, because for so long I was trying to start my blog, and I couldn't get myself to do it, and then I did, and then it failed, and then I did. You know, it's just like, the blogging journey is so different from everyone, and I think everything online makes it seem so seamless and like people are making 11 grand a month and that it's super easy. And that hasn't been my experience at all. So I want to create a space for you guys and keep having this discussion. So if you did enjoy this video, be sure to like it. That helps me grow and continue to get my channel to reach other people on YouTube, as well as subscribe and share it with a friend if you would. I want to end this video just telling you that you are an expert in something. Start getting that confidence and momentum and just building this life and this new thing that you're excited about. Thanks for being here, guys. I so appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys real soon, okay? Bye.